Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn about the display property of CSS. Okay. Now, in CSS, we have elements of three types: block elements, inline elements, and inline block elements. Apart from these, there are many other elements too, but I have not listed them because we have not learnt them. Okay. Now these are few of the block elements. These are some of the inline elements, and about inline block elements I'll be talking later. Alright. Now what is this block element? What is this inline element? Let us learn that. Okay. So let me go to my folder and let me open the web page. Let me open the style sheet in Notepad too. Okay. Let me minimize this. So this is to align text to the center. Okay, I'm aligning H1, H2 paragraph to the center and I'm giving some font style to it. Alright, so let me comment this out. I want to comment this out, and so I'll do this. Okay, so let me save it, and now when I refresh it, you can see the paragraph elements and the heading elements come to the left. Alright, so they are to the left. Now let me right click and select inspect. We have talked about developer tools in previous video, so you know about this. Now click on this button, and now when you move your mouse over any element, it gives you information about that element in the box. Okay, so you can see a dialog box appears with all the information about that particular element. Okay. Now first let us learn about block elements. Block elements are those elements which take up entire line of the page. Alright. Now this is in simple words. So if you see here, this is an H2 element, correct? H2 element. And you can see H2 element is from left end of the page till the right end of the page. Or in other words, it is taking up the entire line. And where is the H2 element? It is here. So H2 heading ends here, ginseng ends here, the text ends here. Even though the text ends here, it takes up this much space. Alright, this much space. So those elements which take up entire length of the page are called as block elements. Okay, are called as block elements. Now the real definition is the elements which take up entire width of the parent element are called as block elements. Okay, but if it confuses you, you can assume it as the elements which takes up entire line of the page are called as block elements. Okay, so here H2 is a block element. So here you can see, even though fatigue ends here, it takes up entire line. So here it takes up entire line. Here it takes up entire line. Okay, so that is why this is, or these are block elements. Okay, block elements. All these are block elements. Whereas inline elements take up space only as much as it needs. For example, image. You can see image takes up space from here to here only. Okay, here to here only. It could have taken from here till here, but no, it requires only this much, and so it takes only this much. And this is why image is an inline element. Okay, inline element. So button, if you see button here, or if you see here, or if you see here, it takes up only this much space and not the entire line or entire width of the page. And this is why button is an inline element. Okay, so the elements which takes up space only what is required, those elements are inline elements, and those which take up entire line are block elements. Okay, now let me go to contact us page. Okay, I can go here and click here. So once again, I want to show it to you. I'll select the inspect. It is already here. So I'll click on this, and if you see form. So form, let me go here. Form is a block element, and it is taking up entire width of the page. Okay, even though the data ends here, it is taking up entire page. Whereas text area is taking only this much space. It ends here. So text area is an inline element. Okay, so this is the difference between inline and block elements. Okay, now let me go to the page and open it in Notepad. Okay, so here let me go back and let me close the developer tools, not required now. You see, where is this? Yeah, fenugreek. I have a link here. Okay, I have a link here and I have a button here. Correct? I have a link here and I have a button here. Now link is here and button is here. Okay. Now both are inline elements. So let me go to the code here. Let me quickly find fenugreek. Okay, fenugreek. Yeah, fenugreek. You see, we have wrapped the A tags. Inside P tags. Okay, inside P tags. Why is that? Now this is to give a line break. Okay, so let me delete the P tags. Okay, I've deleted the P tags. Now only A tag remains and button remains. Let me save it and see the difference. So you can see the button shifted from down here to here. This is because this is an inline element and this is also an inline element, which means this takes up space only that is required. So the space is still here. So that much is required for this A tag. So it takes up that. Rest of the space is free, and so this comes here, comes from the bottom to the top. This is also an inline element, and so it only needs a little bit of space that is required for it, and after that it is of no use, and so both come in a same line. And this is why this phenomenon happens. Okay, if you want something to be stacked vertically, then you need to convert them into block elements. Meaning, if you want button not to be here but to be down below, then either you need to convert this into a block element or this into a block element. Okay, if both are inline, this is how it comes. Okay, next to each other. Whereas if I convert one of the element to a block element, then we can stack like this. Okay, so now this is a paragraph. This is considered as a paragraph, and so it will take space from here till the end, and so there is no room for this, and that is why this comes down. Okay, this comes down. All right, so we need to convert elements into block elements to stack vertically. Now this is one way to convert the element into block element, but generally we do not use it because we already have a property called as display property to convert it into block element. Okay, so let us do that. So let me delete this paragraph, okay, paragraph, and let me save this. Let me refresh it, and you get like this. Let me go to the style sheet. So I'll say A. Okay, I'll say A. I'm styling anchor, and I'll say display, and I'll say block. Okay, I want to convert the anchor tags or the links to block elements. That is what I'm saying here. I do not know whether I have a styling anywhere. Okay, so a active, a hover, a visited, a link. Okay, so everything is there. Do I have a an a tag? Okay, so not there. So let me save it, and now let me refresh it, and you can see this element is converted into a block element. Okay, block element. So you can see we used display and block to convert this into a block, and so it stacks up vertically. All right, but here now there is less space. All right, so you can adjust the space with width. Okay, so let me delete this. And let me save it, and let me go here and let me revert back to P. Okay, let me revert back to P for time being. Okay, so let me save it. Next, let me show what happens here. Let me convert the paragraph. What is paragraph? Paragraph is block element. So let me convert P into inline. Okay, so I'll go here to the style sheet, and yeah, I have P here. I'll say display. Okay, or let me not change all the paragraphs. Let me create a class. Okay, let me create a class for ginseng. Okay, let me say class, okay, GIN. All right, yeah. So I've created a class called GIN. So let me go to the style sheet and let me go down, and I'll say gin, and I'll say display. Okay, display, and block. Let me create block. Sorry, not block. It is already block. Let me change it to inline. Right, inline, and let me close it. Let me save it and see what happens when I refresh it. Okay, so you can see the paragraph started. From here. All right. So the paragraph has certain text, and to cover up the text, it has started here. Now, let me change it to inline block. Okay, inline block, which is this. Okay, which is this, and let me show you the difference. So let me say block. Okay, let me say inline block, and let me say width 300 pixels. All right, so let me save it, and yeah, and now let me, yeah, it is already refreshed. So let me refresh it, and you can see what we obtain. Okay, you can see what we obtain. So width of this is fixed to 300 pixels. So it ends here. So this is fixed to 300 pixels. All right. So now let me change this back to inline. All right. So first it was only inline, then it was inline block and width. Now it is width and inline. Okay. So let me save it. And let me refresh it, and you can see it comes back to previous one. So what has happened is the width is ignored. Okay, now that is the difference between inline and inline block. It takes some properties of block and some properties of inline. All right, what are those properties? Do not worry about it right now. Now in inline block, you can you can mention the height and width of the element, and it will be considered. Okay, whereas for inline element you cannot mention height and width. It will be ignored if you mention it, and so that is what has happened here too. Okay, so we have converted from block to inline. So paragraph is block. We have converted it into inline using this, okay, this. But we cannot mention width and height for inline elements, and so this has been completely ignored by the CSS. Okay, so I cannot change. Even if I refresh, nothing happens. So for you to mention width and height, you need to use inline block elements. So let me save it, and now let me refresh it. And for inline block elements, we can mention height and width and it will be considered. So let me change it to 500. Let me save it. Let me refresh it, and you can see it is considered. Okay, so just remember that for inline block elements you can mention width and height, whereas for this you cannot mention width and height. Alright, there are other differences too between block inline and inline block, but I do not want to explain everything and confuse you right now. Okay, but just remember that block takes up entire line, inline takes as much as it wants, and inline block is like inline, but you can mention width and height of the element. Okay, so that's it for this property. And as I said, once again, there are many more things to learn, which you will learn as you progress through your journey of web development. All right, so go ahead and practice the things that we have learned in this video. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and thank you for watching.